You've been carrying a weight that was never yours to hold. And maybe you told yourself that it was just a phase, just a season, just something you had to get through. But deep down, you know, it's not just about them. It's about what you've been afraid to release. It's about how much of you gave away, trying to hold on to what wasn't meant to stay. God doesn't require you to shrink yourself to prove you're worthy of love. You don't have to keep explaining, justifying, bending, breaking, bleeding, just to keep peace that was never meant to last. You've been a peacemaker at war with your own spirit. And it's time to stop. You've made excuses for their absence, their silence, their inconsistency. You've turned your heart into a waiting room, hoping maybe if you were just more patient, more understanding, more available, they'd choose you like you chose them. But love isn't supposed to be something you perform for. It's supposed to be something you rest in. You have exhausted yourself trying to fix what was broken before you even arrived. You tried to be the glue, the savior, the anchor, when all you were ever meant to be was you, and you are enough. See, the healing starts when the pretending stops. When you stop pretending you're okay, pretending you're not hurting, pretending you don't miss what you know wasn't feeding you. The pretending kept you stuck, it kept you quiet, it kept you questioning your worth. But when you get honest with yourself, that's when the chains start to break. This is not about bitterness. This is not about revenge. This is about freedom. This is about saying, I choose me this time. Not out of pride, but out of preservation. Because peace is a promise, but sometimes it requires separation. You can't keep setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm and call that love. That's sacrifice without purpose. That's martyrdom without resurrection. It's not selfish to let go. It's sacred. It's the beginning of God doing something new in you, something powerful, something whole. But you can't receive what's next while clinging to what's gone. You can't stretch into your future if your arms are still wrapped around the past. I know it's hard. I know you invested. I know you had plans, dreams, a picture of what life would look like with them in it. But just because it felt good in one season doesn't mean it's still good for you now. Growth will always ask you to choose between your comfort and your calling. Sometimes God removes people not to punish you, but to protect you, to clear the path, to show you who you are when you stop hiding behind someone else's approval. You were never meant to be background noise in your own story. You were created to shine, to speak, to lead, to rise. So focus on your healing, focus on your growth, focus on your boundaries, focus on your joy, focus on what makes your soul sing, focus on that book inside of you, that business idea, that dream you buried under disappointment. Focus on the way your smile feels when it's real, the way peace feels when it's not pretending. You are not crazy. You are not needy. You are not too much. You are a whole garden, and some people just weren't ready for the harvest you carry. That doesn't mean you dim your light. That doesn't mean you retreat. That means you dig deeper, you rise higher, and you walk forward with grace. Letting go doesn't mean you failed. It means you listened to the whisper of your soul saying, there's more for you. It means you stopped settling. It means you stopped waiting for someone else to give you permission to live. It means you trusted God more than you trusted the familiar. Letting go is an act of worship. It's telling God, I don't have all the answers, but I trust the author. It's opening your hands and your heart and saying, even if I don't understand it now, I know you are working this for my good. It's believing that release is the gateway to revelation. So if your heart still aches, let it. If the tears still fall, don't wipe them too quickly. Healing isn't rushed, but while you're healing, don't you dare stop moving. Don't you dare stop praying. Don't you dare stop believing that something better is ahead. You are not what you lost. You are what you survived. This season is birthing something in you: strength, clarity, vision, identity. You are not being buried. You're being planted. And when it's time, you will bloom in ways you never thought possible. But that bloom starts with letting go. You don't have to hate them to walk away. You don't have to be angry to move on. You just have to love yourself enough to say, this no longer serves me. Love yourself enough to protect your peace, to guard your purpose, to walk boldly toward the woman you're becoming. And when the enemy tries to whisper that you're alone, remind him that solitude is where God speaks the loudest. Remind him that quiet is where destiny is shaped. That loneliness is not a curse. It's a cocoon. You are being transformed. This is your time, your moment, your awakening. What's behind you has no power over what's ahead. You are stepping into rooms that were built for the healed version of you. You are attracting people who will see you, honor you, celebrate you, not because you earned it, but because they recognize your God-given worth. So walk away, not with regret, but with revelation. Walk away not in pain, but in peace. Walk away not looking back, but pressing forward. Because the promise is never behind you. It's always ahead.
Your self-love. There's a part of you that's tired, and not just physically, tired in your soul, tired of giving advice that isn't followed, tired of showing up when they don't, tired of pouring into someone who won't even pick up their own cup. And you've called it love, you've called it loyalty, but what it really is exhaustion disguised as faith. You thought if you could just hold on long enough, they'd change. But their love was never supposed to be a replacement for their responsibility. God never called you to sacrifice your mental, emotional, and spiritual health for someone else's potential. He calls you to walk in your own assignment, to guard your heart, and to honor your own growth. Sometimes helping people costs more than it heals. Sometimes what you think is compassion is actually codependency. And when you begin to realize that, you take your power back. You stop playing savior. You stop dimming your light. You stop shrinking your needs. The truth is, it's okay to want more for someone, but it's not okay to want it more than they do. That desire can't replace their effort. You can pray for them, you can encourage them, you can stand beside them in love, but you cannot walk the path for them. You can't do their healing work. You can't climb the mountain while dragging them behind you. That's not strength. That's sabotage of your own destiny. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is step back, not out of spite, not to hurt them, but to give them space to face themselves, to give them the dignity of their own process. When you stop rescuing someone, they're forced to look in the mirror, and that might be the very thing that awakens change in them. But as long as you keep softening the consequences, as long as you keep showing up more for them than they do for themselves, they don't have to grow. And let's be honest, while you've been focusing on their growth, how much of yours have you neglected? How many dreams have you delayed? How many tears have you cried? How many pieces of yourself have you put on the shelf just to keep them from breaking? You've dimmed your light trying to keep someone else from being blinded by it. But it's time to remember that you have a life to live too. You have a purpose to pursue. You have healing that needs your own attention. Releasing responsibility for someone else's growth doesn't make you heartless. It makes you wise. It frees you. It restores balance to your soul, and it gives them the space to take ownership of their own journey. Maybe they will grow. Maybe they won't. But either way, your job was never to save them. Your job was to love yourself enough to stop carrying what's not yours. Peace requires boundaries, not explanations. You don't owe anyone access to you just because they had it in a previous season. You don't have to explain why you don't answer the phone like you used to, why you stopped showing up the way you used to, why your heart doesn't bend in the same place as it used to. When God starts healing you, He also starts highlighting everything that disturbs your peace. And you can't walk in wholeness while ignoring the warning signs. There comes a point when you realize that not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. And that's not about pride, it's about preservation. It's about recognizing that your peace is sacred, that the time, the energy, the emotional labor you give out is not infinite. And when people continually take more than they give, when their presence disrupts your spirit more than it blesses it, you have a right to draw a line. Not a wall to keep out love, but a boundary to protect your soul. You spent too long trying to explain your decisions to people who were never trying to understand you. You kept trying to clarify your heart, your motives, your moves, hoping that if you said it just right, they'd respect your growth. But peace doesn't beg for validation. Peace doesn't plead to be understood. Peace stands tall and says, this is where I end and you begin. Because peace is not passive, peace is protective. And protecting your peace means you might have to disappoint some people who were comfortable with the unhealed version of you. Boundaries are not punishments. They're clarity. They say, I know myself well enough now to know what I can and cannot allow. And that clarity doesn't require a press conference. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is say less and move differently. You don't have to defend your growth. You don't have to justify your healing. You don't need permission to prioritize your well-being. When you start setting boundaries, you start noticing who was really connected to your heart and who was just attached to your access. The ones who love you will adjust. They will respect the new version of you, even if they have to grieve the loss of the old version. But the ones who only loved you for how much they could get from you, they will complain, they will guilt trip, they will question your intentions. And that's okay. Let them. That's their process, not your responsibility.